What made you come in the same t-shirt? Did you just get dressed together?
You're closer to retiring than me.
I'm bloody young.
Touche.
I'm not gonna lie. The first time I knew about you was from a YouTube video, and it was like type in Megan Campbell long throw. Who said that? What? And then you like elbowed me in the head, and I was like, oh my god, this game needs to finish as soon as possible.
Longest 10 minutes of your life.
I think you had like a bloody nose, a black eye or something, and you were still on, and I was like, I wish this girl would just go.
Sounds like you, I.
Just go away.
I think that was it's like a living nightmare.
It wasn't me, sister. It was me. So, we're back, 2023, and we've got one new guest. Meg, you've been on before, and we're joined by Gemma Bonner, our new signing. Welcome, gals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Nice to have them.
No, it is.
New year, new mic heads.
Yes. New content, maybe? They'll have to see. But what we'll always kick off with, this hasn't changed in 2023, is what made you become a footballer?
Can I just jump in? What made you come in the same t-shirt?
Did you just get dressed together?
Do you know what though? You're twinning. You look good.
Do we look good? I think we put it off pretty well.
I think this should be a thing. The guests need to wear the same t-shirt.
Matchy match.
But we're
We'll have
all
to
right.
check the budget.
Aye.
Back to football.
What made you become a footballer, Megan? You kick off.
Probably my dad and my great uncle Peather. He back in the day brought me to first ever football training session, which was with boys because there was no girls teams at the time, and I just loved it. Loved running around, battering the boys on the field and not
Show them
passing
up.
the ball to anybody because I was just really greedy.
Bon, what made you become a footballer?
I don't know. I always played when I was a little toddler. None of my immediate family I'm youngest of 6, 4 older brothers. None of them play. So yeah, I just as soon as I could kind of walk, always kicking a ball, and then really through school, like primary school, played all the way through. And then I was at Leeds pretty young, probably 7 or 8.
Leeds, remember when you was at Leeds?
Yeah.
We were at Sunderland, weren't
That's
we?
when we used to first
Aye,
play
come
against
up
each other.
against each other, I remember
Sunderland,
that.
You're showing your
Gemma
age
Bonner plays
now.
for Leeds.
Little
Gemma
feisty.
Bonner, can you kick her? Get her. Gemma Bonner sent off, get her.
You still say that now?
A common denominator, I think, for you both is your dads have got pretty big influences on your career as a whole. I think we've seen a couple of times on Instagram kind of what influence they have on your career. Like, kind of what did your dad do for you growing up to kind of get you to where you are?
I joke about it, but he was like my chauffeur. He took me absolutely everywhere. Mum can't drive, so he literally would finish work. I would get a lift or a taxi because at the time he was a taxi man, but also he drove couriers.
All right.
So you do both. And then he would basically get one of his mates to collect me from home after I'd come in the door from school, bring me over to where he'd park the courier van, get in the car and go straight up to Dublin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he'd done like hours and hours and hours on end, and every weekend he would take me everywhere. So yeah, without him, definitely I wouldn't have been able to get from A to B.
Bloody hell. And I think you don't realise, do you, till you're a little bit older, kind of what influence and how much your parents sacrifice for you to kind of get to where you are now.
Yeah, like literally I would come home, my dinner would be ready on the table, but obviously Mum, then I'd get it, eat it, and then like they're paying silly money for fuel, like obviously it's just mental the amount of cost that goes into it, and then you've got your subs and stuff that you've got to pay as well back then.
Bon, how about your dad? He's a pretty big influence on your career.
Yeah, kind of similar. He obviously used to drive me everywhere. Obviously, when I was at Leeds, it was quite local, but I think the big thing was when the Super League first started and Leeds weren't going to be in it. I think my best option at the time was to go to Chelsea, and my mum and dad were like, look, we know that's the best option for you. We'll make it happen, like Dad will take you. So similar, my mum would always pack me up with the food, like have the food ready. That's one thing I love about coming back home, that Dad can come and watch. He obviously came out to America to watch me.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that.
That was an emotional time.
I bet.
But no, he's been, I mean, both my mum and dad have been incredible support, but Dad's the one that travels now predominantly, like every game, home and away. Yeah, and he's always there, so I'm happy to have him back on the sideline.
Just on that, Bon, obviously you've come back to the club. Any inside scoop of when you thought this was going to happen, about you coming back?
We knew before, Bonner.
Yeah, we knew.
Yeah, it seems like you knew before.
We did. Before you.
As soon as Bonnie left Louisville, I was just like, she's coming back to Liverpool. That's it.
I wish I knew that.
She's coming on.
I know.
She didn't realise.
Honestly, it took me so long to figure out where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to be closer to home. I only, much to everyone's surprise, agreed the week before it was announced.
Lies. I'm kidding.
So yeah, I wish you could have all told me a month ago, so I could have sorted my life out. But no, I was very aware that I didn't want to make a decision based on being a fan of the club, having so many times, and I wanted to make sure that it was going to be the right move for me as a player, and also for the club as well. And I know if I'd have spoke to the girls, then it would have, you know, like it can easily influence your decision.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So yeah,
It still did.
Oh,
I didn't tell you. You tell the world.
That's why.
You'd have tweeted it,
Leaked it.
class. But no, so I did decide very late. But now I'm here. I'm super happy to be reunited with some players and back in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh yeah, tell about the WhatsApp group because that is a good story.
That is good.
Well, I finally got re-added. Gemma Bonner re-enters the chat that I left in 2018 and actually created probably 10 years ago
That
now.
is nuts, innit?
So
nuts.
that WhatsApp group is still going strong.
Because we got a message last night in where it was Bonner. I was like, this is weird. Like, I made this group like 4 years ago, and it was like 2018, you left. So Bonner taking a screenshot. And it's like re-added. Like, it's absolutely mental, innit?
Like the messages before are like, good luck, Bon, good luck, Bon.
Bye.
And then I'm like, you
Bon
left.
leaves.
See you, bye.
And
It's
then
nuts.
last night, I was added.
Obviously, you're back to the club. Like, how was it walking through them doors, like first day of training? Like, how did you feel like coming back?
I don't know, like just driving to training, I was like, oh, like kind of being back in like the home, like surroundings. But it was funny because Nikki Rolser had obviously been over visiting.
Yeah.
And she'd been in to visit the training ground a couple of days before, and she
Yes.
sent me a picture of my training kit
Oh,
and my thing.
cute.
She was like, your training kit's ready, like
Oh,
I'm
that's
so
nice.
excited
Aye.
to see you back. So I mean, we've all played long enough to know that I think it's so important having a good team and people that support each other, because I think you can have the best players in the world, but if you don't have a good team, then, and that was something that I obviously knew coming into, you've already got a strong foundation, support each other, and I think the position that we're in now, that it's going to need the whole squad to be
100%.
successful. And I think the result against Chelsea on the first day, it just showed everything.
That's on the pitch. Off it, you used to have done punditry before.
Off it.
Is it something you are potentially both looking into after career? Or have you not thought that far? But do you enjoy doing it for a start? You did it.
You're closer to
Ireland.
retaring than me.
I'm bloody younger than you. Wow. Oh. What's that one there, please? Thank you. I do enjoy it. It is something that, obviously, through being injured, I got the opportunity to do so with RT back home during the Women's World Cup in 2019. Really enjoyed it. It was my first taste at, working on the television in live punditry, and it's tough, definitely. You've got to do like your research and stuff like that on all the teams and players and have a bit more in-depth analysis of it. But I think then when you step back onto the pitch as a player, you start seeing things that probably you wouldn't have seen before. Which I do like in one sense, but then in another I can't shut off. So it's like there's a mixed emotion with it. Yeah, but no, I do love doing it, and it is something that I definitely want to look to do in the future.
Bon?
Yeah, I definitely relate in terms of like, you like watching the game, but then you almost start thinking every game differently and analysing it. But yeah, I love doing it for obviously being a Liverpool fan. You working for Liverpool is, you enjoy doing it, you watch the games. And for me, I enjoy speaking about the football and analysing the side of that, learning it very much. And it's still like the early stages, but obviously I did a lot of the girls' games last year as well. So I've done it for a couple of years, but very much still learning it, but enjoying it for now. So yeah, hopefully I'm not too close to retirement to start
years
anytime.
left, man.
But no,
Years
I'm back
left.
to my proper job now.
Like, people probably don't realise the stuff that you've got to do before you do it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like see, as women on my TV commentating. So I think you almost have like a responsibility to represent yourself firstly well. But I think naturally we love the game, so you want to learn, you want to come across well. So I think you almost take that extra kind of due diligence to make sure you do your research and you come across, because it's being a woman in a male-dominated sport it comes with, obviously,
you get scrutinised a lot more, don't you?
Do you feel like more under pressure when you do it too, like maybe not make a mistake?
The people that I work with have been like so helpful and so supportive and helping me and teaching me. But I think naturally you would probably put the pressure on yourself. I don't know if you feel the same, like you almost have a responsibility that you come across well, because it's still very much new ground for women.
I've never worked on a male football match as of yet, so I think everything I've worked on has been like women's football, so you have the background and knowledge about like a lot of players anyway regarding like international setups. But yeah, like that, if you make a mistake and then it goes to the break, like you beat yourself up and you get down on it, oh, you said the wrong country, and you know, like don't get bet up on it, like you're still learning. It's going to take time for you to get fluent within like doing stuff like that.
You've only kind of done punditry on women's games on the last Women's World Cup, so I just think it's a great time to obviously talk about you qualifying for the World Cup. I think that takes us in nicely.
Yes, it does.
How much are you looking forward to that?
For me personally, I'm trying to take like January, February, March, April, May, and then into June, and then obviously traveling in July. Like when I'm on the plane, if selected to go to Australia, like then I will feel a bit more comfortable about the situation. Until that point, I don't think I will ever be fully comfortable, because obviously my previous history and stuff like that with playing and things. But yeah, touching everything around me. But no, I'm in good stead with Liverpool, and I've been in a good routine since coming here. So yeah, to be hopefully a part of it will be amazing for me.
How many like young girls and boys like
100%.
you have inspired by doing that, and how many barriers you have helped break down that comes along with that? Obviously you're saying as a young kid, obviously you dreamt of that, and you were on the late toy show.
Yeah.
Obviously that did you
That's
grow up
like-
watching that?
Like
how
every
was that?
year at
Was it
Christmas,
class?
every year at Christmas
it
we would
looked
watch
mint.
the late toy show. Obviously all the toys come out that you want to get off Santa. You write your list after that.
Santa's
you
real.
stay up, you watch it
Santa
late.
is real.
Santa's
I can
real.
confirm.
Of course
No,
Santa's
yeah.
real. But you stay up late and you write your list and then you send off what you want. And so to be grown up watching it every year on year, like as a whole family around the table and stuff, and then or around the sofa. But then to get asked to go on the show was just obviously incredible, and to see that young girl's face when she got the opportunity to meet us as players, never mind the experience of being given the jersey and then obviously to travel as well to the World Cup. Like
that's lush.
just the way her face lit up when we all walked out as players is like, if I inspire any little girl or boy to play football, like just one person, then I know I've done my job.
Oh,
And,
100%.
yeah, to see her reaction was obviously incredible. And like you said previously, it's like, it's not about now. I mean, yes, it's a great feeling for us to be the ones to do it and to make that history, but it's about the future generations having the opportunities to do so and pushing on for betterment within women's football and women's sport. The girls have been incredible the whole way through the tournament. So yeah, to qualify has just been an unbelievable achievement, and it's like the icing on top of the cake.
Obviously you giving kids what they want and everything like that is obviously a fantastic feeling.
Yeah.
But like to even be on the show, I just
on
be
the
like,
set.
in a
like
trial.
When it's like finished and obviously the lights were being turned off and stuff, we was all just stood on set thinking, this is incredible. Like all the toys like laid out, and I was like, oh my God. Like my cousins were watching actually that night, and I'd not told my auntie that was going on.
No
Because I was like,
way.
it could be a possibility. It was kept a secret obviously, so that
So it's
nothing was
filmed
told.
live?
It was filmed live,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we went on quite late, and my cousins were obviously lay all watching it on the television, and then we've walked on, and
No way.
yeah, they were all like in absolute shock. So I've got messages coming through, and then one of my best friends, her daughter Sophie is like obsessed now with me and football. They're all Liverpool mad in the family.
Yeah.
And so they were watching it the day after on record, and my name came out, oh, Megan Campbell, and then she was like, oh my God, if Megan knows her name's been called out on the late toy, and then I walked out and her face dropped.
way.
And I've got a video of it.
That is amazing.
It's just like little moments like that are just priceless.
If I say Megan Campbell, Leanne Kiernan, and Harriet Scott, what happens?
If Megan is watching this, you'll be surprised that she's on TV. Megan! Megan! I'm actually going to cry right now.
I think last time you were on, you spoke about your famous grandfather, and he has a mural
He does, yeah. He's got a mural.
Talk me through that. Like, is it
Um,
like surreal seeing like that of him?
Yeah, it's mental, to be fair. When I was home for, I think, a camp in October, possibly, we were at home based in Dublin and we got a bit of time to ourselves. So I said, I want to go and see it. And he had been painted on a Peggy Moore's pub back home in Drogheda. It was like a tearjerker moment.
I do it.
It's your family,
But
innit?
yeah, that's what we were over Christmas. We walked past it to go to my cousin's house. And I said, isn't it mad that we look at this and go, that's our granddad? Like, that's mental.
Aye.
I wonder what everybody else thinks when they walk past.
Yeah, aye.
It's just
different,
nuts
innit?
to
Aye.
Probably
comprehend.
you next to me.
Aye.
Are you trying to send me off?
No,
What
man.
is going on?
No,
when
there's
you
so many
squad a
people
World
that
Cup or
get in
something,
there
at the
now.
World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
not having a
Honestly,
laugh.
like,
Put you on
you've
inside the door or
achieved.
something.
Toilet roll.
Right, now you've gone too far. Right, you've
Roll
gone
it
too
as long
far.
as Meg's throw. It'd stop straight away, wouldn't it?
Should go short. Talking about long throws,
Oh, goodness.
do you do extra upper body in the gym, or is it just something that you've taught yourself?
No, 2 seconds. Can I just put in?
Laughing
It's all right. Go on. Meg was about to come on, right? She's warmed up as a sub. So I'm running, I'm stretching. Meg's at this.
The elbows are going.
I was like, all right, everyone normal stretches and that.
your arms are
There's,
just
there's
there.
Meg, like,
Do you warm up your arms? I never say that.
You
Yes,
need
I
to.
do,
not
yeah.
seen that,
No, not.
It's like a treadmill. Treadmill going.
My arms move faster than me. I can throw it further than I can bloody
When did
kick
you know
it.
you could throw it that far?
I was probably about 14 playing with boys. And
One day did you just think, I'm going to take a throw in?
And it just
Rocketed.
oh my God.
Like, wow.
Do that again.
I'm not gonna lie. The first time I knew about you was from a YouTube video. And
Was
like,
it?
type in Megan Campbell long throw.
what?
Because you were at Florida State, right?
Right.
So then I feel like your throw's been like a big hit, as they say.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
Well,
and then
I've
I was
not
like,
got
oh,
nothing
I'm
back
going to be
from
in the
it.
same team as the long throw
Commission.
girl.
On the long throw girl.
You know, not Megan.
She's
not
not
Megan
gonna-
long throw girl
The long
on
throw
YouTube.
girl.
Football's not about your feet, it's about
not?
throwing.
Apparently not.
Clearly. I was 14 and it went longer than the boys. And then they were like, do that again. But then as I grew, it just got longer.
So was it just something that one day you threw it and you actually
Yeah.
could throw it really long?
yeah.
Oh my God. I'd be like,
What's your superpower?
head in a ball.
Aye.
Yeah.
I haven't got one.
That's definitely
I actually
yours.
remember a game against you. You might have been playing at Reading, and it was like 3-3 or something. And you came on for the last 10 minutes, and then I had to man mark you, and it was like, I think you went off with a nose, and I was like, thank God she's gone off.
Come back on.
And then she come back on,
Shock.
and then you like elbowed me in the head, and I was like, oh my God, this game needs to finish as soon as possible.
Longest
Oh,
10 minutes of your life.
I think you had like a bloody nose, a black eye or something,
Aye.
and you were still on, and I was like, I wish this girl would just go.
Sounds like you, aye. Oh, hey. What's the furthest you've ever thrown a ball?
I've no idea.
Oh, we've
I've
got
never
to measure
measured
We
that.
need to measure it.
We'll have to measure
You could get in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yes.
Guinness.
We need to do it.
Guinness. Ireland, Guinness. Do it.
We need to do it.
There's a connection already.
Clip that.
I'm going to tweet
Insert
them.
long throw.
I'm going to
Sure.
tweet them. Now.
Insert now.
I'm going to tweet them. I'm going to tweet Guinness Book of Records. And say we need
I'm
you.
going to block you.
Say, YouTube, long throw girl.
Yes. Come to Solar
Oh,
with
no.
your measuring tape.
Have you been up against Meg's long throw?
Oh.
Maybe
Because
against
I
City
have, like,
in the
defended
past.
it. So, like, you defending it, like, how do you feel defending that?
Like how
coming in?
How do you? I don't think you can defend it. It's better than a cross. It's a weapon, like.
Yeah, it is. Like depending on the angle, it's literally like a cross. But I think because you get so much power on it, it's hard for defenders because all it needs is like literally a little flick.
Aye.
It's
And it's going in.
because you can't judge it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I can't
no,
even judge
You
it.
know, mate. I know. I'm like, Meg,
Just hit an area.
just shuts her eyes and throws it.
I'm like,
Meg,
oh,
where you
sugar.
putting it?
Just feel it.
Why ended up It's like a jack in the box.
No, it is. But it's such a good like attacking threat to have.
yeah.
I think it's almost better than a corner because it goes like
think so.
literally straight to the goal.
It's just flat, isn't it?
I'm thankful for it now, but I don't think my back will be too happy in about 10
No.
years.
Nah.
Or your
Good
arms,
take.
or your shoulders.
It's okay. You
Put
can,
it
you
in.
can worry about that
It's
in
all
10
right.
years.
I can sit down for as long as I want then.
Because we are getting more investment, we are getting more respect. I'm just going to touch on the amount of ACLs that have happened over, I think, this last year. I mean, recently you've got Beth Mead, Mead and Mar, you've got some of the best players in the world, and over this last year I think there's been 23 or 27
Wow. Oh, I didn't
throughout
know
the
that.
leagues in Europe, which is
A lot.
a lot. So obviously we'll talk about, I just think like the investment, why aren't we investing more in why this is
Research.
reoccurring? And I think Leah Williamson come out last week and was speaking about periods, how she actually said if this was in the men's game, it would have been fixed already.
That was because endometriosis, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, aye.
So obviously we'll just touch on the ACLs. The game, do you think that's because the games just went from here to here, like within a couple of years, and are we just catching up as footballers? What do you think's, why do you think it's happening?
I don't know. It's hard to put. I think it's hard to put your finger on it because you look at Miedemar and Beth Mead, the two recent ones at Arsenal. For the women's game, Arsenal have probably been up there for a long time, not just on the pitch, off it as well, how they treat the women's team, the facilities they have.
Yeah.
But then you think, well, if they're up here and they have been for a long time, why aren't they the ones with the answer? Don't get us wrong, I think it can happen to anyone.
Did you see what Miedemar said after, so Beth did her ACL first, and then Miedemar withdrew herself in
Yes,
December
she had a break.
because
Yes.
she felt her body needed that time.
Yes.
So she felt, and that was obviously a reason, like Beth had a unbelievable year and been so intense, and she, I think that's what she was kind of saying, was it's been so intense, so she'd taken herself back, but she had to take that decision as a player, because naturally as a player, I think the size of squads and the players that the game's still very much growing.
Yeah.
The girls have literally gone from the Euros and they had I think some of the girls that I know have had 4 or 5 days off, and then they've gone straight back into club because the
But
league
that's going
started
back
again.
to there's been the Olympics before,
So,
so it's been like a
they've not-
rolling.
They've literally gone for 2 years straight. So I'm not surprised that it's happening because their bodies are breaking down due to the lack of rest.
You never like to admit it to yourself that you need a break. Or is it a case of you don't feel comfortable enough to go and speak about it because people might be like, oh, well,
I think
she
it's
just wants
that,
time off or
I
whatever.
think if you look at Viv, the player she is, she's at the top of the game. She
If
is
she
in a
can't do
position.
it, yeah.
She's
Exactly,
in a position to where she's obviously removed herself. But I mean, you go to a lot of the other girls in the league. I know Ellie Brazil from Spurs recently done it.
Jess Sue's done it.
Just gonna say,
West Ham.
she probably couldn't have went to the manager and been like, I think I need a week.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it. You can't do it in the game.
I think, there needs to be a little bit more science behind it because,
I do that.
like Leah's saying about periods, I think they correlate, your period and your ACL
There was
injuries.
research in that, wasn't there?
I'm not sure.
There's so much
but
in
more,
that
I think a lot more needs to go through
I agree.
to have a better understanding of it so that when it does happen, you're able to prevent it, but then also to prevent other players from actually having those injuries, because they're not just little injuries an injury that would have you out for 3 or 4 months where it's, okay, you've done your ankle ligaments, you know what you need to do to get back. An ACL recovery can be anywhere from 6 to 14 months, and it's depending on how your body adapts to the new replacement in your knee. Obviously you can have flare-ups,
Setbacks, everything.
setbacks.
Yeah,
It's not so straightforward as a recovery. So
I think with that, it would also take the onus off the player.
100%.
It would give more, it would educate players on okay, this is why you're feeling like this. It's not just the normal, because I think it's very easy for, especially women in sport, they'll just play through
Get on with
anything.
it.
You get on with it because
100%.
you're used to not having that support because it's not been there for so long.
Yeah, it's normal just to carry on.
It's just normal. You carry on, you play, you give your best, you put your body on the line. So I think the research is definitely needed, but it would also help take okay, this is the situation. This is when you're most likely or susceptible to be injured, whether it be ACL or any. We're going to remove you. So then it's like a common ground, and mentally
100%.
everyone's kind of. But I do think the game's very much in the early stages of being professional.
Yeah.
And it's still learning, the staff are still learning, the players are still learning.
Yes.
The intensity's getting better every single year. So it's how does the amount of games that are now increasing, international players, how do you... I still think everyone's learning.
Find a common
but
ground,
I think
a
huge investment would be into the knowledge and actually the research is how do we manage it.
years ago, an ACL injury such as that would have probably put you out of the game, like you said. It would have, because you wouldn't have had the professionals who have the knowledge that they have now to be able to rehab you back and get you back in a state where, you look at the likes of Chloe Kelly.
Aye.
Like, she was out for the whole leading up to the Euros, thought, okay, I don't know if I'm going to get in the Euro squad, scores the winning goal in Wembley to win
Yeah.
the...
Aye, I know.
Do you know what I
Some
mean? Like,
story
so
that,
it's like some
aye.
story, yeah,
Aye.
definitely. But back then, you probably wouldn't have had players returning from
No,
an ACL
100%.
injury.
No.
So it is incredible to see that you can actually get back from it now, and it is a lot better in that respect. But yeah, I think a lot more needs to be done in terms of, like, it's definitely correlating with
Just to try and
I mean,
prevent.
other things.
Yeah, and it is slowly changing. So you've just got to look at recently, obviously with the periods, the changing of the shorts, so the white shorts. So like,
Yeah.
it is, conversations are being had. Like, it is being like discussed
Spoken about, yeah.
and spoken about. So them little changes, you'd like to think them behind the scenes, like things hopefully are starting to happen.
Yeah.
Which you're right, a few like many years ago it wouldn't have. Like you'd just been like, no, them are your shorts, you're wearing them.
Aye.
That's just how
Didn't
it
have
was.
a choice. Yeah.
So yeah, like hopefully in years to come, we are looking back and being like, oh, things did start to change.
Touching on Man City's white shorts, like it's a big step.
Yeah,
like
massive.
it's
I
a
think
big,
that's
big step.
big for like the next generation.
Yeah.
Because I think like for all of us, we've had a career of dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of, but there's probably so many people that have stopped playing or not played,
It's
maybe because
uncomfortable,
they're
isn't it, for
worried about it.
certain- Yeah.
And for a young player now coming into like a first team environment, that kind of feeling for them is probably like one that's feared for so many,
100%.
and it
Yeah,
might
that
stop
worry.
people like playing. So I think that is like just the conversation. I think like for us, we've done it for so long that we almost deal with it. It's second nature to us.
Yes. Aye.
But what it will help is the younger players
People
coming
coming
through,
through.
that you actually will increase the pool of players that come through.
But we were that kid once.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think you could laugh, like you could have so many conversations now about what you thought of at the time as a kid.
100%.
You'd be like, oh, I've got to wear like black shorts,
Aye,
like you've got
yeah.
to make sure. but
Cycling
then-
short. If I wear Leah's, like.
Yeah. And you've got all these, like as a young child or young kid, like playing, you've got all the thoughts going through
Aye.
your head because you're scared to say it
Mhm.
to
No,
anyone.
I know.
But then
100%.
like when you're older, you're like, oh my God, I was like that too.
Aye. Oh, you
and
as
you think
well. Aye.
however many are still experiencing it now,
Aye.
hopefully
know.
that it takes away.
No, I do, you know, touching back on over, you know, the ACLs and everything like that, like, it's getting there, and I think we need to all keep pushing it. You know, we've got a voice and we need to use it in the right way, and I think for people, you know, kids coming through now, you know, they shouldn't have to have them conversations, shouldn't have to have them worries, and hopefully, you know, by the time we finish in the game, it's in a lot better place than it is now, you know, with like research and things like that, because like you said, it shouldn't even be a conversation.
Looking ahead, positive. January, we're back, we're playing games.
Woo.
How excited are you for this big month coming up? Because it is
It's
a big,
big month.
It's
You
a
know,
massive month, yeah.
it's like welcome to the WSL again.
I think could possibly have like 7 games in like 4 weeks,
Aye, which
which
is
is just
Great,
bring it
Yeah.
on.
great.
love,
bring it on.
Love football.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward
That's
to
what
it.
you're in the WSL
You want
for,
to,
isn't it?
exactly. You
Yeah.
want to play against the top teams. You want to test yourself against the best teams that are out there, and obviously they're playing Champions League, so you want to see where you're at. And I think for us, yes, it's our first year in the division. We've probably learned a lot from the first half of the season so far, but there's a long way to go, and I think we can only get better as the rest of the season carries on.
Challenging against the Uniteds, you know, your Cities, your Chelseas, your Arsenals. That's where we want to be.
We want to play at the highest level. I mean, Bonner, you could potentially be making your debut against one of these big
Second
teams.
debut.
Like,
pressure.
how are you feeling?
Debut back too.
You know, welcome back to the WSL. Like,
in there.
how are you feeling to obviously?
No, I'm excited. I think, like I said, like I've watched the game, like the league, since being away and seen it grow. And there's all the top players playing in the league, and like you said, like as a player, you want to be testing yourself. You want to be playing in those games, and like the atmosphere, the pressure, the games, the intensity of the games has just gone up another level. It'll take, you know, good hard graft, but I think we're all very much aware of the situation that we're in as a team and where we are first year in the league. So I think we almost embrace the fact that we have to work hard to win the games.
Yeah.
We can't just turn up and expect to win. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to, the challenge of like enjoying the challenge of being up against it, but also knowing that we have the quality to go and cause teams problems too.
No, girls, so thanks so much for making the effort to wear the same shirt to come on the show. Really appreciate
It needs to be a thing, lad.
It
It needs to be a thing.
It might be.
Do you like it?
You've started
I
a
do.
trend.
Started a trend.
You've started
Started
a
Pulled
trend.
it off well.
You have, like, trend sense.
Nailed it.
No, but I enjoyed that show. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for coming
Thanks for
on.
having us.
Thanks for having
Welcome,
us.
Bon.
Thanks.
Welcome back, Bon.
Thanks.
Welcome back, Bon.
And
Welcome back,
thanks
Bon.
for coming.
Bon bon.
Thanks
for being late.
Thanks for being
Anytime.
late.
Pay your fine.
Right. thank you,
Until
girls.
next time.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.